Hello, welcome back to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and this is Finish It Friday. Finish It Friday is where we see what I've gotten done this week and what some of you have gotten done this week. As a matter of fact, 10 of you will have your quilts shown on the big screen today. Actually, not true. I threw in an extra, so there's 11 of you today. And some other emails came in after I was through filming, so we got a head start for next week. So if you don't see yours on here today, you will be on next week. Alright, so I usually start out, what did I finish this week? Well, I did a long arm job for Mark on his next video quilt that's coming up. It's not out yet. So Mark is my husband. He has a quilting channel as well and an Astro Journey channel. But on his quilting channel, which is called QUILTERS Architect, if you go in the description box, you can subscribe to that and get notified of his video coming up. He already has many videos out there you can go and view if you haven't yet. He's very he's a fast learner, and he's done a lot of quilts, and he's very accurate and very picky, not like me at all. But I did teach him everything I knew about quilting, and then he just ran with it. So check him out if you haven't. Alright, I did that, and then along with that, I showed you on Wednesday that I was doing the Autumn Nights, and I got the top done. I didn't get that long-armed, but I did get my Apple Orchard quilt done. So, and then this was what was on back of Mark's, so I just used the backing of that. There was still batting and backing left on the long arm. I didn't even have to load it, so I just laid this up there and put a quilt design on it, and it's just kind of a leafy design. I thought it went well with the apples, with the leaves, so turned out really nice, I think. Got it nice and square, and worked really hard on making sure my binding was filled with batting. That's something I'm going to be working on in the next few quilts, to make sure I get a good habit of filling my binding up well with batting. So so far so good. I can't feel any voids in it at all. I tried really hard. One thing I did do though is I cut down the width that I was using. I was using 2.5 inch and then folding in half, but I went down to 2.25, and I think I might do that for a while. 2.25 is fine for a binding on any quilt. So I think that might be part of the success of this one, is that I went down that 1/8 of an inch. I started to go down to 2, and I thought, that's a big jump. 2 to 2.5, I might make a real mess of it. So 2.5 was just perfect. So it looks good, and if you see the print that I used there, I didn't use the checker print that I was talking about on Wednesday. This is from my mother-in-law's stash. It's just kind of like a little ferny green with some little red berries in it. Kind of reminds me of elderberries, or those giant fall weeds that you see out in pastures that have those purple red berries on them. It's kind of like that, but I think it went really, really well. I really do. Let me get back here so you can see. I think it turned out really good, and it matches my shirt even. Yeah, so this is going to go here. I'll take the shark down and put the apples up for the fall. So that turned out good. Now, on this pattern, I do have a little bit of a good news, bad news thing on this. So this is called Apple Orchard by Cindy Schilling. A lot of you have asked, now that I've shown you my progress on this, you've asked about the pattern, how you can get it. It comes from Peaceful Gathering Quilt Shop, and that's peace as in P-I-E-C-E, Peaceful Gathering Quilt Shop. The website is www.peacefulgathering.com, and they're in Fox River Grove, Illinois. Now this project was included in a 2025 fall mystery box. So I called and tried to get information on the pattern as to whether they were going to sell it or not. Could not find it on their website anywhere. Couldn't find anything about the box. Nothing. It's gone. So evidently they sell out of the boxes. The pattern was exclusive to the box, and out of courtesy to those who bought the box, they're not letting the pattern out, which that's a really nice thing, because I know a lot of you would go out and buy the pattern if it was readily available, but they're not going to do that because that's not fair to the people who invested in the box. So what she told me was, on our phone call, was that when the next fall box comes out, this pattern will be available for sale. So a year from now. So you might want to go out on your calendar if you're serious about this and put a note somewhere around maybe July or August when they would be getting their boxes together, and check back with their website and see if they have the boxes, or give them a call, whatever. All the information is there on their website if you want to call them and ask about it. But they will not sell it to anyone until after a year. That's what they usually do, she says. After a year, they put the pattern up on regular pattern sales. So, yeah, sorry I tempted you with something so wonderful that a lot of you wanted it, and now you can't have it. But we're readily into fall here, and maybe you can find another pattern maybe in your hoard of patterns that you already have, or something online that you can find that's similar. I know there's a lot of patterns out that are of pumpkins that have these vintage or classic block patterns inside of them. You can shrink it down a little bit and make it more apple sized if you want something like that. Even the apples they're bigger than normal size. See the size of my hand? That's bigger than a normal apple size. So you may have a pumpkin one that would work, and all you'd have to do is just change it to red. And then instead of just the plain piece right here of the stem, you can add your little green leaf. All that is a rectangle with 2 stitch and flips on opposite corners. So not hard at all to adapt. I hope you do find a pattern if you're looking for something similar. If you don't, look around and see if there's a pumpkin pattern that might be similar that you could shrink down a little bit or not. I think that's pretty much all that I did so far this week. Of course, when I make this video, the week's not over. Some of the things that I want to accomplish this weekend, I'll talk to you about after the show. So let's go ahead and get into our virtual quilt show and see what you've been doing. First up, we have Karen. She says, in the past week, she pieced and quilted this quilt for her great nephew, Alec. And she had a layer cake of the fabric line called Meander, and used a pattern from a book called Charming Baby Quilts by Melissa Corey. I shortened the quilt by 1 row, and it's still about 45 by 48. I'm happy to say it's 100% from stash. I love baby Alec's parents, my nephew and his wife, and I'm excited to give this to them tomorrow. Thanks for sharing when you have a minute. Yes, thanks for sending it in, Karen. I'm sure they have it by now. It's very, very cute. And I think 45 by 48 is a great size for a child. They can grow with it a little bit. And they're going to love all the bright colors in there. And I believe there's horses in the prints there. So that will be interesting to be looked at by the baby. Next we have Linda. She has a couple of finishes here. Well, actually this is one finish. It's front and back. She says this is Patchwork Garden 2 by Sherry and Chelsea using Tilda's Hibernation Fat Quarter Bundle, and made a pieced backing. I used a silk bamboo blend batting, and I especially love its drape and weight. Was trying to make it bigger so it's not on point, but now I wish I had. That bundle doesn't look much smaller either. Yeah, I'm still using off of my Tilda Hibernation bundle with the Moda blockheads, and it's still not going down much. But this is very nice, very pretty easy pattern. You've got those smaller 9 patches in the sashing, so that adds a little bit more work to it, and kind of a strip set sashing as well. Love the colors. And then your back here is pieced as well. It looks great. Very nice. All right, thanks Linda for sending that in. She wanted to mention too that she quilted it on her domestic machine and bound it by hand, and it was a fun project. Next we have Shannon. She says, finished my first king size quilt. It was a beast. This is the first quilt I've been asked to make, and the only direction they gave me was they wanted a chicken quilt. All the other chicken fabric I looked at spoke kitchen to me, but this one with the flowers fit for bedroom. It was a fun project. Yeah, a chicken quilt. Okay, well I think you nailed it. You nailed it, and you've got your Irish chain blocks in there that makes it extra special. And I love the chicken fabric. It's I don't know what you call that. It kind of looks like memorabilia or like scrapbooking, junk journal type of a print. And I think you're right. I think it goes well for a bedroom quilt. Looks really nice. And we see on the final picture close up that you've got it all quilted and you're on the home stretch binding it. I'm sure you have it done by now. Good job, Shannon. Annette has sent in her Irish chain quilt that we missed last week. For some reason I did not get the photo, but she mentioned it, and she says she might try to do some simple quilting to finish this on her domestic machine instead of sending it out. Love the color combination there with the burgundies and the roses and the pinks. Very pretty. That pattern just does anything justice, doesn't it? I love it. Next we have Becky. Becky has 3 quilt finishes here. The first one is, this is the 3 quilts. She just got these back from the quilter. She says the one with the butterflies was from Lynn with Soft Squares, who gave us a panel to use. She can't remember the name of the quilt pattern she used to make the second one. And the third one was just 9 patches and a solid white. So that's kind of like the Irish chain thing too, but she used white. So going back to her butterfly quilt though, I love this. I love the giant crosshatch. I don't know what you would call that. It kind of looks like striping, I guess. And then you've got multiple borders. I like that. And those giant butterflies are very cool. Lots of detail there on this quilt. I like it. The other one is kind of a star type of block. And it's also kind of on the same style as the butterfly quilt, with the big striping going going from corner to corner with the piecing. Looks nice. And then your bottom one I already mentioned with the white and the Irish chain looks great. Love it. Very vintage, traditional. Yeah, I just love the Irish chain. You can't go wrong with that. Pat has sent a Fat Quarter Shop Free Layer Cake Lily pattern quilt that she finished from the shirts of a friend's late father. And it's approximately 58 inches square and quilted by Orchid Owl in Las Vegas. And his daughter will think of this as a cuddle from her dad, she's hoping. So this turned out very nice. Very nice how the blue shirts that you used all coordinated so nicely. It's a very nice arrangement of patterns on there with the shirts, with the plaids. And I love the layer cake lily pattern. Very nice. And the heart, you see the heart in the Baptist fan? That's very nice and fitting for this type of quilt. Good job. Deborah, she says, I've caught up and completed my 9th jelly roll quilt in the 9th month of the year. Deborah, you've caught up with yourself. This pattern is called One Roll Wonder, but I notice it is also the free pattern from Moda called Contessa. My quilt has an extra row and uses all 40 strips and 2 yards of background. Very simple and fast to make. The roll is called Cats and Quilts, but I have no idea why it is a floral. The pantograph is Feather Meander, and I can recommend the Contessa pattern if you need a quick one for the 20th or Jelly Roll Day. So there's an idea for you guys. If you're doing Jelly Roll Day tomorrow, Moda, let's see, no, not Moda, it's, yeah, it's a free pattern from Moda called Contessa. So look that up if you want to do that one. She says, I sewed many of my strips in 2s, then cut into 6.5-inch groups of 5. And then also I'm intrigued by the free pattern called from Moda called Shift. I plan to do it soon. So is that a jelly roll? I bet it is, because that's the roll that you're on. You're on a jelly roll. So there's a couple pattern ideas for you all. Moda Contessa or Moda Shift. Look those up and see if that's something you might want to do for Jelly Roll Day. Next is Monica. The first one she has here, she said this was a panel that she thinks was part of a statewide shop hop in Texas. And to showcase these blocks in the panel, she used some fabric that has the state flower in it, which is the blue bonnet. She made the outer border wider than she had planned, and that caused her to be short for the binding, but she remedied that by using a blue flange on another fabric for the binding. So good troubleshooting there, Monica. Yeah, always buy more than you need, she says. That's true. The pantograph is called Victory at My Creative Stitches. The second quilt is made from a pattern named A to Z Alphabet by Desiree's Designs, and she used fabrics from the Alphabet Soup collection from QT Fabrics. She says, I was late to the party, so I was unable to locate some of the fabrics suggested. Pieces pulled from my stash worked just fine. Yeah, we can always find something in our stash that will work with other things. As a matter of fact, I almost prefer every time to include something else outside of the fabric line. Let's see, the pantograph used is Squiggle Wiggle, and that also is from My Creative Stitches. Thank you, Monica. These are great. She gave me another note about the A to Z alphabet quilt and how she was trying to miter the borders, and she had a time of it, but she got it done. And the child who's going to get it probably won't mind all the random needle holes, but she was wondering about some other techniques to do a mitered corner. Well, what I can tell you about mitered corners is you don't have to miter them, for one. And if the pattern is such that you feel like you really do need to miter them, there's no special techniques for that. It's basically you're just going to have to line those two fabrics perpendicular to each other, make some marks, make allowance for your 1/4 inch, and they're just going to have to meet in that middle down there where it's connected. And you just have to be really careful getting that last little hole sewed up. But don't feel like you have to miter borders. They look good. It doesn't matter what the print is. They look good unmitered too. I think they look equally as well as good. Okay, Sandra. She says, this is my finish for the week. It is a modified hole-in-the-barn door quilt. It will now be donated to the Fabric Patch Breast Cancer Benefit Auction in October. Well, this is cute. Hole-in-the-barn door panel. Now, this is an example of how you can put all sorts of different types of blocks around your panel to make an interesting quilt. I don't know if this was a kit or if this is, yeah, you said it was a modified hole-in-the-barn door kit. So you modified it, but you would never have known, I don't know what your modification is, but you would never have known that that's not the way the kit was meant to be. So, yeah, don't be afraid of your panels. Just kind of throw them in there amongst some other designs, some other block designs, and you'll have a great quilt. And I encourage you all to look out soon for Mark's newest video. It's not out yet, but he's done something with panel blocks that looks pretty amazing. Let's see, Sharon. Oh, Sharon's my neighbor up in Floyd's Knobs, which is not too far from me. And she wanted to show this table runner that she recently finished. Is that a Quilt Seeds pattern? You didn't say, but I love this little table runner. It's got a sunflower on it, and it looks like she quilted it on her domestic machine with the wavy stitch. It looks great for a fall table setting. Very nice. And then the last one we have is Kayleen. Kayleen says, hope you're having a great week so far. I hope you are too, Kayleen. Back in January, I started working in my local quilt shop. Oh, how fun. It's about 45 minutes from my house in a neighboring state, but it's as local as it gets for me. I'm loving working there. It's such a fun environment and a great shop. I've made a few samples for the shop this year, and here's my latest. This is the newest pattern from Sassy Sunflower. It's called Check the Box. I used a half pack. We made the fabric up from the Things Above fabric line. Let me read that again. I used a half pack we made with fabric from the Things Above fabric line. I'm not 100% sure I understand what you mean by that. But either way, go check out Sassy Sunflower, check the box, and you'll see what all you need for this pattern here. Looks like an easy one. I like it, and I like the modern colors and placement there. Very nice quilt. Good for you working at your local quilt shop. That sounds like so much fun. Alright, that's it for this week. Let's get back to the video. Alright, wasn't that nice? I said nice a lot. Did you notice I said nice? Everything nicely, nice, nice, nice. That was the word of the day for the quilt show. They were all nice, very nice, and lots of variety. It's always a treat to see what you all are sending me to be shown. And you never fail to delight me in what you've been doing. So keep sending them in. Do you see Blue over there? Blue! 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 There he is, you lazy head! You lazy head! He's like, don't wake me up unless you want something, lady. Yeah, he's in here hanging out with me right now. So this weekend, get in your sewing room and do some things. Find yourself something fallish to do, some little small project maybe you've been putting off that would be perfect for this time of year. Maybe just do a little mindless sewing, do some 16 patches or a load of 4 patches. I'm sure you've got something you can do, something you can pull out, right? Get an old UFO out and pull it out and see what needs to be done and get it done. They say one of the things that is good for getting rid of the burnout, or I don't know what you want to call it, loss of sewing mojo, your sojo, the best thing you can do is start a new project. Which sounds crazy if you have a whole bunch of UFOs, but don't let that deter you, because there's truth in that saying. Just start something new, and then that'll get your wheels are rolling on these other things you've had in the background that you've not touched for a while. So either way, do something. Even if it's just, petting your fabric, refolding it, rearranging something. All those things that are fun to do. Play with our sewing stuff. I have the Fat Quarter Shop Designer Mystery came in the mail. I told you it was coming. It's here. So I'm going to try to do that this weekend with all the finishing pieces around it. That's what I'd really like to do. I still have that one blockheads to redo and 2 new ones to do. So they're easy. The 2 newest ones are really easy. So I might just go ahead and knock those out and then go back to that one that I totally messed up. Yeah. That's kind of the trajectory I'm on right now. Is keeping up with the monthly, weekly things. And then also, on out there, it may not happen this weekend, but hopefully next week sometime, I can start cutting on the summer wedding quilt that I showed you on Monday that I'm going to do for the fair next year. So that's kind of the direction I'm headed with my projects right now. Always plenty to do, and it's all fun. Alright, I will see you back here on Monday for Monday Quilt Chat. See what's going on in my quilting world and the quilting world in general. And I have something planned for you on Wednesday, which I have mentioned. It is a quilt pattern that uses like feature blocks, or if you've got some beautiful fabric you've just had a hard time cutting into because the designs on it are just so fabulous. This might be the quilt pattern for you. All right, we will see you then. Have a great weekend. Bye.